Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking about how to use Airtable and Zapier to automatically email clients. And over the course of this week, we'll be discussing several different methods for doing so. But let's begin with method one, submitting a form. So we'll start here in Airtable, and I've created a really simple form, a labeled session notes form. So this form is intended to collect notes following a session. So I have a link here where I can select any given client, and then I'll take notes during the course of the session. So I haven't really thought of what to write here. We'll do something like, hello, Marisol, you did a great job. Below here are some notes that we discussed for you to review over the course of this coming week. And then below, you can copy paste any specific notes. So basic form, you select the client's name with a linked column. You type in your notes. If you want, you can include the date of the session. I've left this field optional, and then you would submit. Now, let me actually submit this using the form. And there we go. All right, so you should see this new entry appear in session notes. Yep, right here. You'll see the date of the session was the 17th. It was created on this day at this time. Now, let me talk a little bit about some of the columns that I have here. First, like I said, we have a link column. This column will link to clients. I have a separate table where I list all clients, and then I have some lookup fields. So right now, the lookup fields are only pulling in two pieces of information: the client's first name, which I'll use in the email that I'll be sending, and the client's emails. So taking a look, these are lookup fields. I am looking at the client name field that I have linked. And then using the information here, I am looking up the client's email. And over here, I'm looking up the client's first name. If you want to learn a little bit about how to best organize your Airtable and spreadsheets, I also created a separate video detailing exactly how to do that. I'll link it in the description below. Okay, so this is basically how it's set up. You have client name field, notes field, date of session. This is optional. Client email lookup, client first name lookup, and a created at or a created time column. Once we have this, we can then go over to Zapier and start putting things together. All right, trigger. The trigger is the event that starts your Zap. In this case, we want to look at new records. So when a new record is submitted, in other words, when you submit a form and it adds a new row here, a new record, that's what's going to trigger this Zap. Our Zap is looking at this new record, these new session notes, and it will then use that as a trigger to start this workflow. So I'm looking for Airtable. This is the event. The new record triggers when new record is available. I am not using views right now. If I were, so for example, if I wanted to only look at records that were submitted in the previous week, for example, or only look at records belonging to a certain client, I can use views to do so, in which I would make my trigger event new record in view. Right now, I just want to see a new record. That's what I'll select. Continue. All right, choose my account. Had to log in real quickly there. Then we continue. And then we'll select your base. So right now I'm looking at the client's base, and I'm looking specifically at the session notes table. And you'll be able to see this here. This is the name of the table that I want. Continue. And now it will let me test it. So you'll test the trigger. As a note, if you're new to Zapier, you can only test this trigger successfully if data exists here in Airtable already. So if you're trying to create a Zapier and there's no data in the view that you want or in a specific table, this is not going to work and you're going to get an error message. All right. In this case, yes, I was able to find the record here, specifically the record that I wanted. And now our trigger has been set up. So now we're going to go to the action. So the action that I want to perform here is sending an email in Gmail. So I will select Gmail, send email, and I've created a new Zapier account specifically for this. So I may have to connect to my Gmail. Yep, one moment while I do so. All right. So you choose the app and event, choose the account, and now you set up the action. So you'll see here why I added a couple of lookups. In order to make sure that this email is going to send to the client, I need to have the client's email in this table. So I'll select here, and I'll show all options, and this will show me all of the available records that are currently in Airtable. I'm looking at the client email. This is just a test email, which is why you'll see that it's the same as client name, or it's the same as my email here. You can select who it's from. So in this case, I will select my email. You can fill all this information in, but the important thing here is subject and body. So for subject, if you want to give it a specific subject title, for example, in the form, if you would like to add a form field where you input a subject title, you can, or you can just input a specific subject line right here. So for example, here's a copy of our meeting notes from, and since I collected the date of the session, I can input the date of the session here. So all of this data, you can input it just by clicking this. So you can combine text, here's a copy of our meeting notes from, and then you can combine it with the data that is in any specific cell on Airtable here. In this case, date of session. And then you can either use plain text or HTML for the body. Same thing for the body. You can combine text with whatever input is here. So you can say hello, and then I want to input the client's name, which I have. It'll say, hello, Marisol. I hope you're doing well. Here are our session notes from our last meeting. And below, I will click notes here to auto input the notes from the session meeting that I just submitted via form. And then below, let me know if you have any questions, and then you can input your name there. All right, so this will send in an email to the client every single time that you submit a form. So essentially, you can store your notes here in this Airtable, in this table right here. And if you want to automatically send these session notes to a client, you can do so. You don't have to copy paste everything over to Gmail. All you do is submit this form and you will be able to format it exactly as you want. Using HTML, you can also format it in whatever method you want. If you want to insert images, if you want to insert logos, you can easily do so here. But right now, just basic email, continue. All right, and after this, you'll be able to test. So I'm going to send this test email to myself. Test and continue. All right, test was successful. Give me a second to open up my Gmail and I'll be able to show you the end result. All right, and here we go. Again, this is a very basic format. I didn't even input double spaces between each of the lines. You can do that very easily in Zapier. This is just to show you how it works. You submit a form and then Airtable will take your notes and use that to format and send an email to a specific client. If you want to set yourself as a CC or a BCC, you can also easily do that within Zapier, but there we go. And if you get any value from this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I add new videos up to 5 times a week with tips, best practices, and how-tos aimed at helping entrepreneurs, especially coaches, create automations, processes, and workflows designed to save them time, money, and potentially attract more clients. And if you're looking at all of this and you think it might still be a little bit too complicated for you, you can either contact me for a free 15-minute consultation where we can talk about how to help best set you up for success, or you can check out the Hello Lily app designed specifically to make client management simple for career coaches. All right, see you next time.